Hi, I'm Rachel, and these are my two brothers, Yuda and Michal. And today we're going to be talking about some issues in society that we think are relevant. So we're going to go to Michal with the first question.
Okay, when faced with hate, should a person fight against it, or should they turn it into peace? I think that when a person's faced with hate and there's a person who's hating them, they should try as much as they can turn it into peace, because there creates a connection between them that overcomes the hate. But if they can't, and they're in this situation where they can't escape, they should try to get out, as so they won't hurt themselves. What do you guys think?
I totally agree with you, and I also believe that not only will it hurt themselves if they stay in a situation like that where they can't achieve peace, but it might even hurt like other people that are involved with that, and it will just cause way more chaos than it started with.
Before I go to what I think, how do you suggest creating that bridge, creating peace?
I think there's always a piece of information or something that two people can always relate with, and that if they relate with this one thing, there can create a connection through that one thing to create peace. There's something you can relate with this person, whether it's food that they both like, music that they both like. You just connect, and there creates a peace between these two people.
Personally, I think that it depends. If you can create peace, always do it. I'm always for peace. If you can't create peace, I agree, remove yourself from the situation. But if the person is following you and not letting you leave the situation, I believe that that's the time that you should fight, because it's self-defense. And for self-defense, you should always fight.
The next question that we're going to be talking about is, why does racism still exist? And I think that it's about a lack of education, and even more specifically, it's just that a person, when they don't understand another person, there's no way that they can ever achieve the amount of love that they could if they really did understand them. So racism comes from a lack of understanding. And Michal, what do you think about that?
I couldn't have said it better myself. I totally agree with that.
It's definitely about education and understanding. When you understand what someone's been through, what their background is, you realize that everyone's human. And when you realize that they're human just like you, it's impossible to hate them. And on the topic of education, our next question is, what is the importance of education? So to me, the importance of education is everything that we just mentioned about preventing racism. It doesn't just prevent racism, it prevents any form of hate, any form of not getting along, for lack of a better word. I feel like when people are educated properly, there's no way they can't get along. What do you guys think?
I totally agree with you on the fact that education can prevent hate and racism and any other type of hate. I also think that education, more specifically in the way that like schools give education, it's also really important, because it gives people a basic understanding of the way that life works, and it also gives people the chance to like gain new relationships and learn how to keep those relationships through many obstacles in life.
I think that education not only teaches or helps to remove hate between people, I think that education should be something that people can use for their life. If education was simply like in middle school and high school, where you're taught about certain history or a certain type of maths that you don't usually use in your daily life, I'm not saying that there's no use to it. I'm saying that there could be other things that you could learn in this education. I think that college, for example, is a way to learn creatively and to expand on your knowledge that you want to expand on, which I think that the education system should improve in that sense.
So on the topic of education, how do you guys think that the way that students are taught to think, how do you think that affects in their future the way that they think?
The way students are taught affects them in two ways. First, they're encouraged to use this form of like copy-paste learning, where they just have to memorize everything from a textbook and regurgitate it on a test a few weeks later. And while that may be super helpful for their memory skills, it doesn't help them have this mindset of making a creative work environment, being creative with solutions that have been around for a while that don't have an answer. And if they're not creative, they won't be able to truly succeed in life. So memory is important, but so is creativity. do you
Yeah,
think?
I totally agree. I think that because students are usually taught from textbooks or from teachers like giving presentations, they're not able to get that creative mindset that they would if they were able to learn in a different way. Michal, what do you think about it?
I think that when a student is taught to read from a textbook, memorize it, and make sure that they know it just for a test, they're really learning for that A. They're not learning for themselves. And I think that when a person is in a classroom where they're just working for themselves, they're not helping others to succeed, it's sort of this mentality where you're the only one in the room that counts, which I think is pretty unfortunate, but that's what we are trying to make aware today. Our last question is, how does mass media affect society? I think that mass media is a certain tool that can spread knowledge to people around the world. It's good and it's bad. It's good because you can, let's say you're trying to learn how to play guitar, how to cook a dish, you Google it and you know. But the thing is, mass media is also bad. It creates hate between people in Snap. It's this web that people can use to create hate and to spread terrible things between people, which I think is very unfortunate. What do you guys think?
I think that I totally agree with you. I think that mass media definitely has its pros, which is providing knowledge and providing all these things that you can learn like at the tips of your fingers. But I totally agree with you also that it does give a sense of hate, and also in the way that for example on social media you kind of get this image of perfection which is unattainable for most people, and it makes you think that, oh, this is like what I have to do. But in truth, it's that there's this whole other picture that you're not seeing that's behind social media. What do you think?
I think that I definitely agree with you on the knowledge part of the media. You can find out anything in seconds. I also think that it's the great connector of the world. A few decades ago, people didn't know, and they couldn't know unless they really went and did some research. They couldn't know what was going on the other side of the world at that very second. Today, you turn on a news channel, you find within 10 minutes you know what's going on in 5 different countries. Humanity hasn't had that for a long time. The downside to me of the media is not only its ability to spread hate, but its ability to spread false information, which I think breeds hate. And I also agree that it creates this image of perfection that most people can't attain, and even the people that are seen as perfect aren't truly perfect. So I think that it just creates all these facades, which is not good.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you want to let us know your opinions, reach out. We'll be so happy to hear them.
And next time we'll be talking about familial relationships and how to navigate them. Thank you.